When I meet with confirmands, before I do confirmations, I try to get to know them a little bit. And one of the questions I ask is, what's your favorite book or movie? And pretty frequently, people will say that their favorite book is The Lord of the Rings. Sometimes they're really specific and they'll name one of the 3 actual volumes of that series. But it's a very commonly popular book among Christian people. And there's a particular thing I want to bring your attention to that's in The Lord of the Rings. There's one character whose name is Denethor, who is a steward of Gondor. And he kind of towards, in the 3rd book, in The Return of the King, he is on a downward spiral and ultimately commits suicide. And he's a man who is in despair. And he's in despair, they discover, because he has access to this seeing stone, and which always shows you what is true. But because the stone is also in the control of Sauron, the bad guy, he sees what is true, but he only sees what Sauron allows him to see, which is all of the bad things. I think one of our temptations in our age, and perhaps particularly in our denomination right now, is to be looking at everything that is bad and perhaps not seeing a larger picture. I came out of our diocesan convention this past weekend really encouraged mostly because it was a delight and a joy to be among the people of the diocese, the clergy and the lay deputies, and interacting with them over the course of a couple of days. It was incredibly encouraging because we also heard some encouraging things about things that are happening in various congregations and in our common life together. I'm going to bring a couple of things to your attention. There are many other things that could be said. But one of the things that I said to the convention is that I was really excited about was really the clergy. And so many times I'm interacting with clergy on a one-to-one basis or when I'm doing a parish visit and they tell me some sort of story in passing, which they may not realize, but really demonstrates of some of the really significant and serious and long-term pastoral work that they're doing with, preparing families for baptism, working with couples sometimes that are struggling in their marriage. I hear these stories of pastors sort of doing just the day-to-day work of being pastors, and they're doing really, really good work. Really encouraging work, really hard work sometimes. And I was really personally over the past year encouraged by that. And I shared that with the clergy on our clergy day in advance of convention because your pastors, my dear brothers and sisters, are working hard and doing some really good things among you. So I think that's a great thing to pay attention to, in addition to the things that are significant and real challenges. I think also there were some stories from across our diocese of exciting things happening, like a Hispanic ministry, a ministry to the Latino community that is in partnership. The Church of the Savior in Ambridge is in partnership with a Spanish-speaking church there. Again, this outreach, that is this collaboration with some others in an outreach to a particular community in our diocese. We heard a fantastic story about our church in St. Paul, Minnesota, that were given a building this fall, which is incredibly good and encouraging news as they continue to do their work of proclaiming the gospel, which they've been doing sort of as vagabonds for 15 years in various different churches. There are so many things. One of the other great things is we got this notification of this youth weekend that's coming up. We had a youth youth day back in May of this year, but this coming up in March, we're going to do a youth weekend, and again, some great outreach and sort of discipleship and encouragement of youth in our diocese. So one of the things I think is really important for us to be thinking about, even as we consider the very weighty and challenging things that might be in front of us as a denomination, that in most cases on the ground, really, really good work is happening. People are faithfully trying to teach the faith, teach the scriptures, do good catechesis, do good pastoral care, and do good outreach in their communities. And while we consider some of the other things, it's important that we are not looking just at sort of into that seeing stone, the palantir, and seeing only what is bad, but seeing the full truth, which includes the challenging things as well as the good and true and beautiful things that are happening in our congregations. I was most excited and encouraged by convention because I was exposed to that as I sat with everybody, and I am grateful to the work that's being done, the people that are doing it, I'm grateful to them, But ultimately, I'm grateful to God for his continued faithfulness to us as we try to live out the gospel as the Diocese of Pittsburgh.